Hi everyone. So today I wanted to come on here and just do some comparisons with the Wayne Goss Airbrush. I've had a lot of you ask about any possible dupes that I have in my collection. So today I just wanted to go over some. At this point, I think we're all pretty well aware that there will never be a true dupe for the Wayne Goss Airbrush. This brush is truly just incredible for under eye setting. But I just wanted to give some comparisons of similar brushes I have in my collection and how they compare, etc. So of course we'll start with the infamous Wayne Goss Airbrush, and this is made of blue squirrel, and it's about 33 millimeters in length. And it really just has that beautiful diamond taper. Very, it's not too airy. I was gonna say very airy, but it's really not. It's the perfect density for under eye setting. It just fits so perfectly, and it's just very soft. Hopefully Wayne Goss brings this brush back. I know he brought it back a couple times already, but it really truly is just such a true gem in any Fude lover's collection. The next brush I wanted to show is my Takeda 12 Canadian Squirrel. And this one is about 28 millimeters in length. And it has that similar shape to the Wayne Goss, but as you can see, it is smaller. And mine's been in a brush guard, so don't mind the shape is a little funky, but here they are next to each other. And for me, I do have small features, so the Takeda 12 Canadian Squirrel really does work very well for under eye setting. Very soft. Takeda's Canadian Squirrel is truly some of the, if not the softest bristles that I have in my entire collection. Very luxurious, very soft, silky. It never applies too much powder. It picks up the right amount, disperses it beautifully, and it truly fits under the eyes just so perfectly. I really love this brush. Even though it looks very small in comparison to the airbrush, it truly does fit under my eyes perfectly. The airbrush does as well, but there's just something about it. It's truly one of my favorite under eye setting brushes that I have in my personal collection. And if you all own Takeda's Canadian Squirrel, you know how soft these bristles really are. They're just heavenly. So that was definitely one I wanted to show. And it looks so much smaller when looking at all the other brushes next to it, but it really does work. The other brush I wanted to show is the Hakuhodo K008. This is made of pine squirrel, and it's advertised as 37 millimeters in length. Very soft. Not as soft as my Takeda Canadian Squirrel, of course, but it is still very soft. Pine squirrel is more springy. You can see the way it bounces back. And I'm going to compare it to the Wayne Goss Airbrush. Very similar shape. It's got that diamond taper. But with the K008, it can also be used with blush. So can the airbrush. I mean, the airbrush is a very versatile brush. But whereas this one's 37 millimeters in length, it is really good blush brush. I admit I do not reach for my K008 nearly as much as I should. It really is a lovely brush. But I just have others that have kind of taken over. And unfortunately, as my collection has grown, some brushes just take a back seat to the others, but it is still a really good option nonetheless. The next brush is the Hakuhodo S111. I have mine in the vermilion handle, and this is blue squirrel, 35 millimeters in length. Very soft, very silky. And here it is compared to the Wayne Goss Airbrush. And as you can see, it is definitely bigger than the airbrush, but it has that very similar shape. I originally got the S111 for blush, but I do really enjoy it for under eye powder. It works very well with that because it is really soft and silky. And it is more dense than the airbrush, as you can see, but the shape is very similar. So it really is a good alternative, and it is really versatile due to its shape and size. And the next one is the Sonia G Designer Pro. This is 33 millimeters in length, and it's dyed Saikoho goat hair. This is another one of those brushes where the size, shape, and density make it really, really versatile. And here it is next to the Wayne Goss Airbrush. This brush is also denser than the airbrush. And in my opinion, I just prefer to set my under eyes with squirrel bristle brushes. As I've reached my 30s, I noticed that goat, especially dyed goat, it tends to pick up more product. It still applies it lovely. It never, ever, ever looks cakey, but as I've gotten older, I just prefer squirrel bristles under my eyes. But for anyone who missed out on the airbrush, you can see these shapes are very, very similar, but the Sonia G is definitely denser. And these are actually, even the length is identical, about 33 millimeters. And of course, with Japanese brushes, they're all hand bundled, so everybody's are gonna be different. The measurements may never be exactly as advertised, so that's something to keep in mind as well. And I saved the best for last. So this is the Hakuhodo brush. This is Gray Squirrel. And this Gray Squirrel is 20 years old or more, and it's European dressed. Mine has not been washed yet, so it is gonna bloom, but it's in the Kokaton handle. Really, really beautiful handle. When I saw this come on CDJapan's website, I just knew I had to have it. This is by far the softest blue or gray squirrel that I have in my entire collection. If you could all feel this brush, you would be blown away. When I first opened it, I just couldn't get over the softness of this brush. It is incredible. And when brushes are European dressed, they're more straight, silky, smooth. Oh, there's just something about it. But here it is next to the Wayne Goss Airbrush. Similar shapes. And this one is also 33 millimeters, so the length is pretty much identical to the airbrush. It is wider, and it doesn't have that diamond, as much of a diamond taper as the airbrush does. And I'm imagining this brush is gonna bloom out a little bit more as well after I wash it. So that's something to keep in mind as well. But it is still available on CDJapan. But it's the Kokaton handle is no longer available. It's available in the medium length black handle. But nonetheless, honestly, just for the bristles alone, I would jump at this brush. And I hate to say that, but I would, honestly. Not many times do us collectors have a chance to collect older hair. As we know, the hair quality over the years is declining. It's getting more expensive. So the cost of this brush and the quality of the bristles, it's truly worth it. I just can't get over how soft this brush is. And honestly, if I was to compare it to my Canadian Squirrel, it is truly almost as soft, if not just as soft as the Canadian Squirrel. Canadian Squirrel is maybe just a slightly little bit softer, but not by much at all. I mean, it's just, yeah, they're very similar, which is insane because usually Canadian Squirrel by far will be the softest, but it's just incredible. Oh my gosh, I love that brush. So, but yeah, I just wanted to come on here, give some quick comparisons. I hope they were helpful. If you guys have any questions, leave them down below, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.